the man discovered a strange oil painting. The paint on it seemed to be still wet. Curious, he reached out and touched it. But when he got home, he found that the paint wouldn't wash off no matter what. The tired man didn't pay much attention. However, when he woke up the next day, he saw that the area of the paint had spread, and he could faintly hear a noise coming from his fingers. He hurriedly asked his roommate to check, but the other person didn't hear any sound. The man thought he was overthinking, so he went to the laundry room to get some detergent and washed again. This time, it still didn't work. As he was thinking about how to deal with it, he saw a cleaner waiting outside. After the cleaner saw the man's fingers, she hurriedly told him to cut off the yellowed fingers. The man was shocked and quickly left. He complained about this to his roommate. Both of them just laughed it off. However, the next day, he found that his entire palm had turned yellow. What's worse, a harsh noise kept coming from his hand. The man remembered what the cleaner had said. He decided to cut off his hand, but he never mustered the courage. Angry, the man rushed into the corridor to question the cleaner. The cleaner quickly explained to him. It turned out that she had seen this painting 20 years ago. At that time, the paint on the painting was also wet. She not only touched the oil painting, but also played a prank by smearing the paint on her sister's face. Later, the paint spread wider and wider. To be on the safe side, she cut off her own fingers, but her sister wasn't so lucky. In the end, she disappeared without a trace. Until a few days ago, this painting appeared again. She accidentally saw her sister in the painting. The smart woman realized what the problem was. The man planned to destroy the oil painting directly. The cleaner tried her best to stop him. During the struggle, her ear was stabbed. Realizing he had made a mistake, the man ran away quickly. But after a while, he found that the noise around him was getting more and more harsh. At this time, the man's arm had turned completely yellow. The scenery around him was the same as in the painting. Could it be that he had entered the world in the painting? Suddenly, the man saw the cleaner's sister. He hurried to chase her, but when he ran over, he found the woman was gone. Then the harsh noise rang out again. Eager to get rid of all this, the man finally decided to cut off his arm. At the same time, the roommate found that the man was missing. He accidentally saw the oil painting too. There was an armless figure added in the painting. The paint was still dripping down. The roommate curiously touched it. Looking at the paint on his fingertips, and thinking of the familiar figure in the painting, he felt that something was wrong. A few days later, the cleaner stood in front of the oil painting. She showed a strange smile. It turned out that another figure had been added in the painting. The man returned home from his business trip and found cigarette butts scattered at the door. This indicated that someone had been lying in wait there. Thinking of his wife who was alone at home, the man quickly grabbed his handgun, then climbed over the gate and sprinted toward the house. There were obvious footprints on the ground near the door. Carl's heart tightened. He rushed into the house without hesitation. Music was playing in the living room, but his wife was nowhere to be seen. He immediately went to the bedroom. Blood was splattered all over the walls. Carl quickly called his wife. Fortunately, she was only seriously injured. When she was alone at home, someone broke in and beat her severely. Seeing his wife covered in wounds, Carl was filled with uncontrollable anger. He vowed to avenge his wife. As a top assassin, his address had never been exposed, so he went to find his boss. Without a word, he pierced the boss with a nail gun. If not removed within 6 minutes, he would suffocate to death. The boss still refused to admit it, putting up a tough front, but just 3 minutes later, he collapsed to the ground in agony. Carl quickly put a newspaper on the ground to prevent blood from dripping on the floor. Unexpectedly, the boss, who had a heart condition, couldn't last even 6 minutes. Carl remained calm. He pushed in a trash can, stuffed the boss into it, and cleaned up the scene like that. Then he opened the bathroom door. The secretary, already terrified by him, quickly told him everything she knew, begging Carl to spare her life. Carl fought for a moment and decided to let the secretary go. Then he pushed the trash can and entered the elevator with her. But just then, 2 people walked into the elevator. The secretary didn't dare to make a move, because she knew well how cruel Carl was. If she dared to act, she would be killed immediately. The secretary took Carl back to her home, where they found the order to assassinate him. Having obtained what he wanted, Carl got up to leave, but he still had one more thing to do. With the name, it was time for revenge. He drove a rented car and went to the killer's house to spy on the situation. He saw that the other man kept a wolf dog. Carl quickly went to the supermarket to buy beef and sleeping pills. He went to the killer's house at night. The wolf dog detected him immediately. After Carl fed it beef laced with sleeping pills, the wolf dog soon quieted down. But as soon as he walked into the room, he was attacked. His handgun was knocked to the ground, and the 2 men grappled fiercely with each other. However, the other man was extremely strong. Carl had no advantage at all. Luckily, Carl picked up the gun on the ground in time and shot the killer dead before he charged at him.